everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Female Empowered Podcast. I'm your host, Krista Gurka, and we have, I think, our most returning guest on the podcast ever. I'm super happy to have Latasha Doyle with me, founder of Uncanny Content and my literal ride or die human being on this planet that has helped me grow the Krista Gurka brand and FitBiz strategies to where it is today. And so, Latasha, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I don't know if like in SNL when they have a five-time
Yeah, you get the jacket.
the smoke jacket. I want that. Yeah.
I should have sent you one. I should have sent you a jacket that just said fuck off or something. Instead of 5 years, that would have been classic. Next time. See, you have all the great ideas. That's why I love having you on my team. The best ideas. And isn't it crazy? The episode that just aired this week at the time of this recording was our 300th episode. How crazy is that?
Easy. And I've been with you since the beginning.
Since then, because I literally remember the conversation that started when they're like, you should do a podcast. I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was like, I cannot, I'm barely keeping it together right now. Like, I can't do one more thing. And everyone's like, just all you have to do is talk.
Yeah.
And that's
Well, you
it.
were already doing the Female Fridays
I
too.
was.
So you were already setting up a lot of interviews.
Yeah. And that's why I think, I don't remember who said, they're like, just use the first year can be all the stuff you've already had. And then I was like, oh, and I'm so glad people convinced me because I love podcasting now. I love it. It's fun. It's fun. So today, what we're actually going to talk about is the benefit and actually like the how to of stepping out really of the day to day to do a kind of like a DIY or a VIP day or a business retreat kind of thing. You and I got together recently in Denver. I flew out. I mean, I was using it as an excuse to fly to go travel, but I was like, I'm going to come to Denver because I need help. Me personally, I'm the type of person, like I'm a very visual person. We work together on Zoom all the time. It's great, but sometimes the way my brain works, like to be able to sit down in person and hash out some things is just helpful for me. So it was a really helpful day. And we're gonna talk about that today. So from a content expert, strategy, I mean, you're really great with the strategy and putting all the pieces together. From that aspect, what do you see as benefits to doing these type of things?
So I think the biggest thing that I've seen is that anytime a business owner who is in a growth stage or a transition
Mhm.
stage, you are busting your ass every day. You are answering team slacks. You are at the studio, or you are building funnels and writing emails and paying the bills and doing all the things because you are trying to keep up with where things are headed. And that is the nature of being a CEO, right? Is that like
Mhm.
you're wearing a lot of hats all the time. But one thing that happens a lot is that you get so caught up in the momentum of all of that that you don't take a step back and you don't say, okay, we've all been cooking in the kitchen and now it's time to like clean up some dishes and put stuff away.
Oh, that's such a good analogy.
You have flour everywhere and there's a bowl that's been soaking in the sink for way too long. And it's just things are getting messy. And the doing like a DIY retreat or like a DIY VIP day to really walk through everything that you need to do and everything that needs to be cleaned up without expectation that you're doing it that day.
Mhm.
It's like doing when you're really overwhelmed and you're just like, I just need to write it down. It's like doing that brain dump and actually making a plan to make the changes that have been spiraling in your head. It just like, it takes such a mental load off of us. And when you treat it as like I am creating the plan for the next 3 months or the next 6 months or the next year, you are able to see so much clearer who can be delegated to.
Yeah.
Because you see things and you're like, okay, actually, I don't have to be the one doing that. Whereas if you keep waiting for it to be a fire, or one day you're just like, oh, well, I have time today, so I'm going to do it myself. Everything falls back on you, always, all the
Mhm.
time, already. So getting it out of your head, thinking about what you really want to do, what you want to accomplish, in this like DIY retreat, DIY VIP day, it just really helps you clarify what you need to do and actually who else can help you do it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love the analogy of the kitchen, the messy kitchen, because you're so right. So many of us, when we're starting our business, especially those of us that are like the technicians in our business, like we're the doers, we're the service providers, right? We're kind of duct taping a lot of stuff together and we're just kind of trying to get shit out there and get it done. And so, which is fine. I agree that that's the best thing. Like, just put some stuff into action, do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm agreeing with that. And especially what happened with Fitbit Strategies was I was launching that while I was growing Pilates in the Grove. And so we literally just duct taped a lot of stuff together. I was like, okay, this works. Okay, I guess I was learning how to use Kajabi. I was
Mhm.
learning what I didn't even know what beta meant. People, I was in coaching programs and they were like, I know.
Oh,
They were like, what is it's a beta, like you're gonna do a beta run. Like, and I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, I don't, they're like a test launch. I was like, I don't know what that means. So it was, and we just like layered on top of layered on top of layered on top of layered. So when I first started doing these with Pilates in the Grove, I would call them like CEO days. And I would just take a day. I would try to go away like local, but I would get out of my house because it's distracting. And I would do like an Airbnb or something. I would just go for a day. And literally that whole day, I would plan like the next quarter of what has to happen. What are my biggest priorities? What can I delegate? What can I delete? What can I defer? And that was really instrumental. And people I know might be listening and being like, I don't have time to do that. And when am I going to have time to do that? You have to make time.
mhm.
We have to make time for what we prioritize. A day ended up becoming like 2 days. 2 days became 3 days, then became like a week from time to time. So, from your perspective, when business owners like myself who are like more visionaries and have a really hard time sometimes honing things in, being like, this seems like a big thing. So what would you suggest in terms of where should people start? What's the first thing they should do if they want to do one of these things?
Number one, put it in your calendar, block it off. Nobody can take that time. There's not going to be like, oh, I could probably pop into the studio and check that out that morning, or oh, I could probably squeeze that client in. I don't care. Block it off. It doesn't exist. Nobody can talk to you.
Yep.
And while you're at it, do it again next quarter or in the next 6 months so that like that time is blocked off. I have a client, her name is Anna. She calls them Anna days. And every quarter she has a day where she does her like big picture thinking and then she goes to like get lunch and like go to a massage or a facial or something afterwards. And every time she does that, she comes back with more clarity on what is happening in her business. And she just got a day off to like not deal with all the fires and not deal with all the
Yep.
communication and she's not checking everything. Number one, look at your calendar right now. We'll wait
Yeah,
and block it off.
that's so good. Look at your calendar for the next like sometime between September and November and just do it. One of the things that helped me, that was what I did. Like I looked at my calendar, I blocked it. One of the things that did help me was to book a hotel room or a conference room or a co-working space or an Airbnb because if I had something booked that I couldn't cancel, it was going to cost me money to cancel, I was much less likely to be like, oh, forget it, I'll just push it on my calendar. So that was helpful to me. And I don't want to tell people like spend money that you don't have, but as a business owner, think of it as an investment to keeping you from canceling.
It is a business expense. And if you're like in a really tight season, call your library up and book one of their conference rooms,
Oh,
their
so
study
good.
rooms. I have never done better work in my life than when I've locked myself in a study room in a library. But there's a lot of options there. And then I think the next thing would be taking some time to brain dumping, literally all of the things that have been like, oh, I gotta do that. Oh, I gotta do that. Oh, I gotta look into that. Oh, I have to do that. Oh, like just the never ending noise that
Mhm.
goes on in our heads as CEOs, right? Write it down. Just have a sheet of paper or like two sheets of paper, whatever, for the next maybe week or so, maybe 2 weeks, where you're writing down everything that's just like, oh, I got to do that. All right, all these little things so that you have a laundry list that you can then later sort into categories. But do the brain dump, write down the things that are like, oh crap, I got to fix that funnel, or oh, I need to look into that trigger for our packages, or I need to see if that teacher is actually going to be available starting in November when she's supposed to come back from her disability leave or whatever. Write it down, keep writing it down. That list is going to get fairly long because you're a busy person,
Right.
but just keep adding to the list. And then within couple of weeks, once you feel like, okay, a lot of the same things are coming up, or they're coming up in themes where it's like, okay, this is mostly about inventory for the studio, or this is mostly about equipment updates, or this is mostly about back end marketing, or this is mostly about like team management and systems. Start bucketing those things out so that you can then make a plan to look at everything on your VIP day, CEO day, retreat day, whatever you want to call it. Do not expect to overhaul everything on this day. This
Yeah.
is a day for you to actually look at things, make plans, delegate, or delete and defer. Because there's going to be things that come up that even when Chris and I did this earlier in August, there were a couple of things where she was like, just get, we're not going to do that. Just get rid of it.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do that right now. You're brain dumping and then you're putting those dumped items into different buckets. And you can keep adding to those buckets however you want to do it. And I can talk through a few of the buckets that we touched on for you and that I think listeners might need. But that is first steps, brain dump. And then when you have a long enough list, you can start bucketing those things out into quote unquote categories.
Yeah. I also think one of the things that is helpful, and so we used to call this like an issues list. Like we'd just be like, here's an issues list. What are all the issues in the business? And we would do this every quarter.
Mhm.
Sometimes when you look at the issues list, it's you can also then start to dig a little deeper and figure out like what's the real issue behind the issue. So an example, we hear this all the time. The people on my team are not responsible for what they're supposed to do. Okay, that could be the top issue. Like Jane isn't doing what she's supposed to do. But could there be another issue? Does Jane not have the resources she needs to do what she's supposed to do? Number one. Are you not holding Jane accountable for what she's supposed to do? Number two. And does Jane even know what she's supposed to do? So is it the onboarding process? And so sometimes being able to figure out what is the real issue behind the issue
Mhm.
solves the basic problem versus just like band-aiding like right over the solution.
Yeah, and once you get those categories, right, of like, God, I just have a lot of personnel issues, right? You start to see the themes. So, like
Yep.
for Krista specifically, when I was doing the outline, I was like, honestly, her biggest issue right now is that her website is a product of the last 7 years.
Yeah.
And it's that kitchen, right, where it's like
It's a
all of
hoarder's
the things that we
paradise.
started are out and half of them are baked and half of them are not. So we need to really look at that. And for some of you, it may be I really need to get my offers on lock because I feel like I've added 18 different offers and really my people only want this one package that we do. I have a massage therapist who I hope doesn't listen to this, no offense, but she adds different packages weekly. She's added, oh, well, now I have a sauna in my studio and I have this foot bath and I have a reformer now. Like she's adding all these things all the time. And everybody has said, I only want massage.
Right.
That's where she makes her money. So she would have to, if she were to ever do a VIP day, really look at, okay, am I overwhelming my people with all these offers? Am I overwhelming myself with all these offers? Am I overwhelming my team? But that would be like her big bucket is that for some reason my offers feel chaotic as hell.
Yeah.
For some of you, it might be team. For some of you, it might be like back end marketing or operations where you're like, I feel like we need a project management tool. I feel like we need a different marketing system or scheduling system. Like there just may be those things where you're just like, everything there is annoying the crap out of me all the time. This is where those VIP days can be really, really
Yeah.
helpful because you can, like you said, sit down and say, okay, why do I want to cry every time somebody new schedules an appointment? Okay, big picture. Let's actually ask ourselves, is it the system? Is it the team? Is it that you're at capacity and you've absolutely run yourself into the ground and you need to hire? Things like that. But during your VIP day, right before your VIP day, what I want you to do is like actually write it down in a notebook, or if you have a whiteboard like Krista has, or if you have an easel like I have back here, you want to write down your top 3 to 5 issues within those categories. Not like the brain dump task lists, right? The categories. What's your biggest category? What's your second biggest category? What's your third biggest category? I'll tell you right now, by category 3, you're going to be pretty tired. So don't expect to get 10 things, 10 categories addressed. I would really focus no more than 3 to 5 categories a day. And I'm talking like my biggest pain point right now is marketing systems.
Mhm.
My second biggest pain point right now is team onboarding system. My third biggest pain point is offboarding clients to my team. My fourth biggest one is like I need to have a new bookkeeping tool. And then fifth biggest is, I don't pay myself enough or something like that. But they can't be massive things where it's like, okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite my whole website on this VIP.
Right.
That's not what you're doing.
No.
You're literally looking at the theme, the category, and you're saying, these are all the things that need to happen to make this feel better. These are all the things that need to change here. And then category 2, what's happening here? What are all the things they need to change? What are all the things they need to do or what the team needs to do? Category 3, what's actually happening here? What needs to change? What action items are there? And when I say action items, if you're the only person on your team, if you're listening to this and you are the sole owner and operator, you have no team whatsoever, be honest with your capacity here. If you have a team, though, you need to be really honest about who can help you and who can't. And if you're looking at that list and you're saying nobody can help me, I think you need to put hiring as your number one category because
Yeah.
that sucks. But so you write your brain dump, you write down your categories as you get like a better idea of what kind of themes are coming up in your mental CEO noise. And then you get to the week of your VIP day. And I want you to write down your plan. I'm going to address these 3 to 5 topics, these categories. And then I want you to go to your VIP day armed with enough paper and pencil or dry erase marker or Sharpie or whatever you like to write in. And if you're a laptop girly, fine, use your laptop. But there is something to be said about paper and pen when it comes to these things because when Chris and I did it, there ended up being a doodle involved that she's like, now I want to have that illustrated for the website.
Yep.
I could refer back to it really easily because it's a visual, like it's literally right here and I can stare at it when I need to. So something to be said about pen and paper, right? But then when you go into your VIP day, this is, I think people think this is a working day. I want this to be, like I told you, I have that client, the Anna day. She starts the day off with breakfast at her favorite breakfast place. She goes to wherever she's having her Anna day, which is sometimes like a quiet room at a really quiet coffee shop, but a lot of times she gets like a hotel or like a conference room. I want you to go into that room fully fed, fully caffeinated, or whatever you need. You've peed, you're comfortable. All notifications are off. Okay. I
Yeah.
don't want you being like, oh shit, somebody slacked me. Because you will find ways to distract yourself.
Of course.
And then I want you to get everything that you need out, and I want you to start on category 1. And the question is, what is the biggest pain points here? What's not going well? If you want to write down what's going well, great, do that. But it really does help to see. Let's say your biggest category is scheduling and marketing systems. Biggest issue is scheduler works half the time. Biggest issue is marketing funnels aren't set up. Okay, that's information that you need. So, and you
Right.
have that brain dump of tasks where it's like, need to research other marketing tools, marketing and scheduling tools, need to research how to set up marketing funnels in this tool, need to do all these things, right? You've looked at category 1 and you've thought very honestly about what the problem is. So when Chris and I did this, the first thing that we talked about was this is maybe different for some of you, but one of the biggest things that Krista has come up against is for specifically not for the studios, is that the brand has changed from what it was originally. And that has been the biggest friction point for us is does what we're doing now reflect the audience that we're serving? And so the first thing that I asked her is, has your mission and vision changed? And she immediately said no. And I was like, okay, great, cool. Let's move on to this, which is our biggest pain point, which is the website.
Mhm.
And we need to look at all of these different pages to say what's not working for our current audience, what's not working for our back end tech, right? But for some of you, it's going to be a lot more tactical than mission, vision, values. Some of you are like, yeah, I know my mission, vision, values. That's not an issue. Some of you are going to be like, actually, the thing that is really tripping me up is that I started out as a solo PT practitioner and now I have a studio and we do PT and Pilates and dry needling and all these things. So you're going to have to take a step back and look at all of that. Does our brand reflect all that we do? Does our audience know that we do all these things that we do? Things like that. So it can be really tactical or it can be pretty big picture. But that's why it's a VIP day, right? Is that like you can actually think about these things and have the space to do so. So you're going to have your pen and paper and you're going to start with that category one. You're going to ask yourself, like, what's the friction here? What's not working? And then you can start writing out action items. Need to research new marketing tool. Or if you're in a season of brand transition, it can be need to talk to new brand designer.
Mhm.
Or for Krista, it was I need to call my web designer because it's time. And then you can kind of list those out. But if it's easier for you to go category by category and list out what's not working or what needs to change, do a quick pass on everything if you can, or deep dive into something if that's your like learning style. I personally like to do a little bit of category one, a little bit of category two, a little bit of category three. Okay, let's go back to category one. Is there anything after we've thought about these other categories that's coming up? What about category two, category three? Okay, now we're good on those things because we had three things to talk about for Krista. For you, it might be five. Go through all five. And then when you're done writing down, this is what's not working, this is what I want it to feel like, this is what I want it to be like, this is what I need it to do, start making those action items. So, step number one, we need to create a new sitemap for the website because it doesn't reflect all of our services. Step number two, I need to call my web designer, make sure that she's available.
Yep.
Step number three is I need to get the doodle that we put on our piece of paper illustrated, things like that. For some of you, it might be I'm going to have to fire this person on my team. I'm having a lot of issues with my team. I want it to feel like they are actually showing up to work with the skills that I need them to show up with and with the excitement that this brand requires. And let's say Janet is not fitting the vibe, and I now need to research how to fire an employee. And then I need to schedule a termination date. And then I need to schedule a call with her to discuss her termination date. Or it could be, I'm drowning. I cannot do all this by myself. I need to look into hiring. I need to look into how much that's going to cost. I need
Mhm.
to look into onboarding materials. I need to think about my onboarding process. And then I can start writing a job description. And then I can start interviewing. And then I can hire somebody. And then obviously onboarding plan after that. But the idea is that you sit down with those 3 to 5 categories and you really take a hard look at what needs to be done and then you create action steps. So, website needs done, delegated to a web designer and a copywriter. Back end marketing needs fixed. Maybe somebody on your team is willing to do the research on like a marketing and scheduling tool.
Mhm.
Maybe somebody on your team has said that they'd love to help with the marketing and they can help with those funnels that you've been avoiding for 6 months. Maybe you need to get a new scheduler set up and that sounds like a nightmare to you. Maybe your teenage son loves technology and wants to buy a scooter.
Yeah.
When you are listing out the things that need to happen, be very honest with yourself and say, do I have to do this? Or is it just that I don't feel comfortable delegating this?
Mhm.
And you'll be surprised at how much stuff you actually don't have to do yourself if you have a team or a support system. Obviously, I know some of you are like, it's me, myself, and I get that. I've been there. And you're going to have to really look at your calendar and say, what can I do here? So then the next step to all of this is scheduling. If you're the one doing a lot of this stuff, you have to take an honest look at your calendar. You have to set deadlines for other people if they're involved, and you go from there. I've talked a lot, so I'll let you.
No, I think it's helpful to like help people see the importance of these days. I
Mhm.
do think sometimes business is hard. There's no bullshitting around that, but sometimes we make it harder than it has to be because we haven't taken a step back to say, like you, the massage therapist example, is your clients are telling you one thing and you are not listening. So by adding all these services, you're just making it harder than it needs to be.
Yeah.
And sometimes as business owners, I think we're afraid to say no to things. We're like, oh, shiny object. Oh, do this. Businesses are like, hey, I just did a workshop with a PT and I think I'm gonna rent her a room and do that. And I'm like, that's taking you away from your goal right now. Yes, is that a good idea? Could it be a good idea? Yeah, it could be. I don't know that that's the thing you need to be focusing on right at this very moment when you have all these other things that you could do. And then that's how business owners that we're always like, oh my God, I have so much to do and I can't figure out what to do because we're
Yeah.
just making our business harder.
Yeah.
I also agree with your statement about finding help. When we did our day and we were looking at, there's a lot of programs on there that were like pre-COVID. I was like, we don't, why do we have these? It's like when you clean out your house, when we just recently moved, my husband and I still found sippy cups in our cupboard. My boys are 22 and 19. I don't know why we had sippy cups still, but sometimes you just gotta like clean. You still have stuff that is just not needed. Or the jackets with shoulder pads that are still in my closet that I don't know why I'm keeping them.
They might make a comeback.
They will. They're going to be my Halloween costume one day. I don't know. But, anyways, yeah. So I think sometimes it's good to get rid of services or things that are no longer profitable. An example is I tell business owners a lot, especially studio owners, like that 40 class package that you have that you think is great because it costs like $3,000. It's really terrible for your cash flow. Not that many people are buying it. Just take it off your service, right? Take it off. And then I like the 3Ds. So what can you delete that doesn't need to be part of the process anymore? What can you defer to later? Like, yeah, this is a great idea, but it doesn't have to be my top priority now. And then what can you delegate, right? So what can you delegate to someone else? And when I say delegate, I really mean giving that person the power to take that entire task, right? Not you micromanaging them, you giving them that task. And if you need to hire someone, you need to hire somebody. I ended up hiring when we were talking about it. I was like, that all that Kajabi stuff seems very daunting to me.
Mhm.
So I'm going to look for a Kajabi expert. And I
Mhm.
did. I hired a company that they're experts in Kajabi, which is my website. So they will do like the sunsetting of the projects and then we're redoing the FitBiz Foundations course, like we're redoing the videos. They'll do all that. I was like, could I do it? Yes. Should I do it? No. Hiring somebody to do that. And so it doesn't have to be a full-time person.
No,
It
it
could
could be
be
project
project
based.
based.
Mhm.
Yeah. Project based is like super helpful. And when you're paying an expert to do it, you might be like, oh, wow, that's like $2,000 they're going to charge me. But how long would it take you? So like, the way that I tell people, so if you're a PT that charges $200 an hour for a session, if it takes you longer than 10 hours to do, which it probably will because you're not a website expert, you're already underwater and like what that is, right? So just pay the expert to do it and free
Well,
up
and
your time.
there's also so let's say you need to overhaul your systems because your scheduling and marketing tool is just like not working. People are not getting notified that they booked an appointment or they're not getting reminders, so they're not showing up to appointments. There's so much lost money in these systems that yes, investing in things always sucks. And I'm not saying go into debt to do so. I'm not saying that at all. But as you do this VIP day and you look at your categories and you look at what needs to be done, there might you might feel better because you're like getting it out of your head and onto paper, right? But there's also going to be this like, oh shit, now I have a lot of work to do. CEOs don't do all of the work.
Don't. Not successful CEOs,
No.
not six-figure CEOs with five-figure mindsets. That's like the problem,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So it's important to delegate. Good leaders create other leaders.
they do. And I'm not ruling out that it's not easy to do.
No, it's not easy. If it were easy, we would all be fabulous and we wouldn't be burnt out and we wouldn't be
Right.
worried about having difficult conversations with our team. But no,
Yeah.
it's not easy.
Yeah. The other thing I will say, speaking of team, is that sometimes it helps to do this with either like a business partner that you really, really trust, or with another business owner. So like
Yep.
if you're a PT and you know an acupuncturist who has their own practice that like they're doing really well, and you guys have met up for coffee a few times, like it can be really good to bounce these issues off of another person because they can see holes that you can't. So when Chris and I did this, I came with questions and then she would tell me things that I know Krista really well, but let's say she said something that I was like, oh, I didn't realize that, or I didn't think about it that way. And then that changed what we decided to do. So, like, even for the website, where we were going through and realizing, like, actually, this is going to need a redesign because we
Yeah.
are changing so much. And quite honestly, if Krista was doing that by herself, I think she would have been like, no, it's fine. We'll just delete those pages and, like, hide them kind of thing. Whereas looking at it deeper with one person really helped see everything that needed to change. There were also a couple of things that as she was going through, I would ask questions and it honed in on what she saw that not that I didn't see it, but it honed in on what she needed to do next. So if you have that relationship with somebody or you have like a biz bestie, things like that, make it a weekend if you want to. But if
Yeah.
it has to be a single day, that's fine. The other thing that I want to mention is that like bring snacks, plan for breaks. This is not, again, you are not a workhorse on this day. You are the CEO, you have ideas, and you are having your ideas, you are organizing your ideas, you are not doing the work.
Yeah.
Not
Yes.
this day. You are
Yeah.
taking a step out. And then you're going to Applebee's for lunch.
And drinks and cocktails. We
Which is
do
what we
cocktails. A couple people in our inner circle and in our FitBiz membership, they have actually created like these accountability groups and they will do it together with themselves. Like there's a group of women from the FitBiz that I know they got together to talk all about business. I know a couple women in the inner circle got together to talk about business and same thing, like they can bounce ideas off someone and ask questions the right way and sometimes a good one will like push back a little bit and
Yeah.
say I don't know like if that's actually true, is that true, right? We did it with our team quarterly
Mhm.
and I started just myself, then I started having my team members come with me and it was a day. So yeah, and I thought it was really helpful for you to to do it with me because I one of the biggest things with me since I sold Pilates in the Grove was, okay, I get to dive full time into the mentorship and coaching and consulting, which I love and which has grown like gangbusters in the last like 3 months.
Yeah.
But I also, having learned from growing a business that if I don't fix some of these things now, it's just going to be harder in the future. So I was like, I need to fix some of the tech. This is no longer like a side hustle. I need to fix some of the back end because I want the user experience to be really good on the front end for customers. And having you ask me the right kind of questions because my brain was just like a little bit all over the place is
Mhm.
helpful to push back, but to also get a little bit of clarity. We were able to discuss our real like customer avatar
Mhm.
in terms of where are they when we meet them and where do we want them to be. And that's where we did our little like visual drawing that I thought was really cute that we're working on for our website. So, anyways, that was super helpful. So I agree with you, like having someone, another business owner that you can do it with
Mhm.
also keeps you focused, right?
Mhm.
Or having someone from your own team
Mhm.
do it,
Yeah.
you know?
Your team will bring a lot of perspective
Yeah,
to you. You do have to be willing to hear it.
I
So
was just about to say that. Yeah, I was
they
just about
might
to say that.
be not critical, but they might have feedback on some things that you're married to or emotionally tied to. But I do think that level of challenge when you're stepping back to say, who am I serving? How am I serving them? How am I growing my team? What do we need to do that well? It really helps to have somebody who is on your team who you feel is invested. Don't bring somebody you just hired 2 days ago. Don't
No,
bring somebody that
no.
you don't trust with your clients.
Yeah. And also that really thinks strategically like an owner, right? So they have to be able to see and understand the big picture. It also really does help sometimes some of your team members realize like how much goes into making this business successful.
Yeah.
You know, when they realize, oh, there is thought process behind what we do and why we do and how we
She didn't
charge and
just
all this stuff.
increase those prices for no reason, just to make
Yeah.
more money.
Yeah. So I think that it's not, I wouldn't invite, when I did it with my team, it was like myself and two other people. It was my director of operations and then our studio manager. So like
Yeah.
she was always the liaison between the leadership team and the staff. So
Hmm.
she brought a good perspective of like, I like that. How can we best roll it out to
Hmm.
the team? So
Hmm.
that was like good. And she saw both sides.
Yeah.
So I thought that was always
Yeah.
powerful.
And if you're not there yet with team, it's just something to keep in mind that like this may be a solo VIP day or like biz
Yeah.
bestie VIP day. But as you grow your team, grow it thinking, do I want this person in the room with me when I do this?
Yeah. Do they come with good ideas? Are they good sounding boards? I mean, you and I work really well together, so it was perfect. And I also got to see you in person. And you're right. So we planned out like our entire, like what we were going to get rid of, what we were going to lean into, how can we streamline it? And then we had action steps. So then we were like, okay, this is what you're going to do, meaning you, Latasha, is going to take care of this. Krista had her own action steps. We had like an idea of we were like, okay, can we get on the Jess's schedule for the website design? I was like, okay, so she's open to redo it in November. Great. It's not an emergency. We don't need it relaunched tomorrow. So now Latasha and I had, 3 months for the most part to then build out the website, right? Work on sunsetting certain programs, work on the copy. I want to get new pictures. I realized I don't even have Duncan on my website. Like, how is that even possible without my dog on my website? How is that possible? Because back when I started my website, I wasn't a dog person, and so there's no dog on my website. But yeah, so now we have enough time to really
Yep.
move in a very strategic, intentional manner where we're not overwhelmed and we have a plan. So,
And a lot of what's going to come out of the listeners' VIP day is you're going to see all the things and you might feel overwhelmed at all the things. You're going to be asking for help, and these things are not going to be done overnight. These are things that are going to be done over the next like 3 to 6 months. There
yeah,
are some things where you're like, I
maybe
got to fix
12,
that. Yeah.
maybe 12 months.
But it's not going to usually be, I got to fix that overnight. Obviously, if your website crashed and you can't get it back up, you're going to need to get help and you're going to need to get that back up
Yeah,
ASAP. But there are things that, yes, might need to be like, I got to get this done in the next 2 weeks. I got to get this done in the next month. There are also going to be a lot of things where it's like, this is going to be a 70-step process and it's going to take me 3 months.
yeah,
Take me 6 months. It's going to take me 9 months. That is okay because your business will still be here in 3, 6, 9, 12 months.
yeah,
Like in the kitchen analogy, if you're in a Michelin star kitchen, they are cleaning up as they are cooking. They are mixing stuff and that bowl is clean. They are putting stuff in the oven and then everything that touched is cleaned. Like you're in this new space where your business is growing, you're transitioning, and you're able to create space for you to clean the dishes as you make the mess. You're cooking something while you're doing it, but you're keeping your workspace clean.
yeah,
And that's more what I want you to think about with these VIP days. Not that you're like getting everything done on these VIP days. It's that you are mixing things, you're putting them in the oven to bake. They're not going to be ready for another 2 hours, but you're cleaning your space. You're making sure that your mental space
yeah,
is
yeah,
tidy because you are going to have to do this. This is a long haul, right? Like your business is not a sprint to the finish line.
no,
You are going to be doing this for years. And you want to make sure that your mental space is tidy, that you have a plan for where you're going, that you're touching base with how things are going more frequently than just it's a crisis and I'm crying and it's 11:30 at night on a Saturday and I have to think about this right now.
right.
Clean your space as you cook.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we're going to do at the summit in November. So the Women in Wellness Business Summit is for women in wellness. So women who own boutique fitness and wellness businesses, physical therapy, Pilates studios, yoga studios, combinations of all of the above. And so the what makes our summit different is it's actionable, which was very important to me. Like, I don't need a bunch of vision boards and like cute cutouts. I need people to walk away with like get shit done attitude. And so November 6th, which is the first day of the summit, we're actually going to be doing this exact thing in a room of less than 30 women. So you can bring your team. Some people are bringing their team members, but we will be there. So basically, the first half of the day is year in review. And we have very strategic, what's the word thinking of? Plans, like breakouts of like how you can decide, like look at your 2025 year, what worked well, what didn't work well, what needs to change. So we're going to help you create those buckets. And then
Mhm.
the second half of the day on that first day is how are we now planning for 2026?
Mhm.
How are we getting you to your revenue goal or your systems goal or your profit goal or to have the schedule you want goal, like where you're not the one providing the services 24/7. So that is literally, we're doing this kind of VIP day in a room with experts. You, myself, will have financial experts. And then Friday, the day Friday will be a panel discussion with a lot of business owners that do this on the regular. So we'll have a marketing panel that's going to talk about website builds, SEO, brand development, ads, and things like that. We'll have a financial panel that's going to talk about how to look at your books, how to structure your books, how to invest in your business, how to invest in retirement. And then we're actually going to have a sale and acquisition panel that talks about whether you're interested in acquiring a business, which by the way, last year we talked about exiting, but this year we're going to talk about both.
Mhm.
How to set your business up for an acquisition, meaning you're exiting, and how to decide if you want to grow, how you can grow through acquisition, through buying other businesses. And so it's a very different summit than most conferences because you're not in a room with 100 people, you're in a room of 30 people. We feed you good food and it's in Miami. And so I think I had three registrations yesterday. So I think we're literally down to the last three available spots. I know it's
Oh boy.
crazy. So I'm going to link that in the show notes. Like, but if you're interested in getting a room in a seat in this room, it is a really, really powerful summit. And I'm not just saying that because it's mine. Well, maybe I am, but I built it based on what I wished I had at the time. And so Latasha's been a part of it since the beginning, since the first one, right? So how do you think? What do you think about the summit? What's your takeaway from?
I don't go to any other client events.
I
Chris's events
love
are the
having her
only,
here.
Chris's events are the only ones that I go to. One, she, and I'm not saying this because I really like Krista, I'm saying this because it's truly impactful, is that everything is taken care of for you. Like once you pay to get there and stay there, like Krista's got everything else figured out. The the agenda is very well done. And we've also worked on it for the last few years to where we know exactly like pacing and we know, okay, we know that we threw too much information in this section. So next year, like you're getting the culmination of like every year it gets better and better and better. It's also in Miami, so like it's gorgeous. But the thing that I'm most excited for this year is the panels because it's going to be really important for people to get perspectives. This isn't just Krista getting up on a podium and talking to
Yeah.
you for 8 hours. She's sourced really great experts. And the women who are in this room are always fantastic. They're so supportive. They're asking great questions. They're excited to be away from their studios and their kids and whatever else. And they're just so happy to be in the room. And it's such a fun event. So if you're hearing this and it's sold out, I'm so sorry.
I know. At the time, hopefully we're down to three, which is really exciting for me. It's grown. And I agree with you. I think the women in the room, I think they ask really good questions. I also like to bring in other experts that are business owners so that you can see the real life of
Yeah.
like you run your own business. So you, besides understanding content and strategy, you're a business owner.
Mhm.
And so you understand what all the women are going through. And I think it's good to see um, other women doing things maybe in a way you didn't think about, or to show like what is available, right?
Mhm.
Like what is available to us. It was huge for me to be in the room with women that were talking about selling businesses because at one point even though Pilates in the Grove was doing great, I never thought that was
I know.
really available to me.
Yeah.
And it's been great. And it's fun. And I'm like an over deliverer. So I'm just like, I want you to come. I want you to eat. I want you to have good food. I want you to have good people. So it is November 6th and 7th. 2025, depending on when you're listening to this. We will link in the show notes under this episode, the link also of where you can go and reserve your spot. We are also hosting a VIP room, which is Friday afternoon. So Friday, November 7th, it's supposed to end at 12, but we're opening a VIP room that's going to be limited to only 8 women. And we're going to do a VIP, like laser coaching, come ask me anything session from 1 to 4 p.m. So that's an add on if you're interested in that. And I'm excited to have Latasha there. We'll have Carrie Sadowitz, who actually is the podcast next week. You'll hear her. She's a marketing expert. She was the founder and CEO of Fitting Room that was acquired by New York Sports Club. So now she's this chief marketing officer of New York Sports Club. She's going to talk about branding and marketing. Her podcast episode is next week. And we're also going to have Danielle Hayden, who is the founder and CEO of Kickstart Accounting Inc., which is our like money team in the group, our bookkeeping and accounting, as well as Kristen Abel, who is the money person in the financial expert in Boutique Fitness Broker, which are the brokers that help me sell my business. So she's going to come and she's going to talk about all things finances when it comes to acquiring or selling your business, which is really exciting. And I just tell people, like, yeah, you might not want to sell your business, but what a great opportunity if you set it up like you did want to, and then you were able to exit when you wanted to, at least for something. Like you just didn't have to like close up shop and be done.
Also, we all retire.
Huh?
We all retire
We all retire. It's
or
great.
have a retiring event.
Yeah, but that's true. Yeah. And I grew my business through like acquisition a little bit. And so there was acquiring another business rather than opening from scratch is also an opportunity to grow. So, any last words, my dear?
If you can't make it to the summit in November, we've given you the tools to host your own.
Yeah.
But I also think this is something you should do quarterly, anyways. At the very least, every 6 months. Treat yourself a little bit. You deserve it. You work hard. Your business deserves you stepping back and looking at it from a new angle. And you got this.
Yeah. That's great. I'm so excited to see you in person again in November. And like I said, if you're interested, grab the link in the show notes so you can go and see if we have spots still available. And until next time, my friends, bye for now.